Hey everybody, welcome back to the Beans on Ghost channel. We are in between investigations at the moment. We're planning one very soon. So what we're going to do in between these investigations is release some content on some haunted stories and locations. If this is something that you like, leave it in the comment box. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Always welcome. Now on to the story. So the story of the Pendle witches goes back centuries, all the way to the 16th century, where one of the most famous witch trials ever happened. This would be the story of the Pendle witches, which resulted in 2% of all witch executions that ever happened. A total of 12 people were convicted to be witches, with 11 of those people being convicted and sentenced to death by hanging. The strange part of all this was that the main witness was just a 9-year-old girl. Between the 1400s and the 1800s, a phenomenon unlike any other gripped Europe, and this would be the witch craze. In the 1600s, there was an intense fear of witchcraft which swept the nation, and one of the most famous and well-documented cases was that of the Pendle witch trial. In the 1600s, the landscape of England was very different from what we know now. The area of Lancashire was known to be a lawless one, and this was something that King James I was ready to put a stop to. There were small areas of the north of England who were widely still Catholic, and this was viewed by those in London as a wild area filled with sin. Lancashire in particular was treated with high suspicion. Within the area of Pendle was 2 families which were headed by elderly women, which at the time would be known as cunning women. Bear in mind, back in these days the life expectancy was much lower than it is today, and this in itself would raise suspicion. These cunning women were known to have magical gifts, as they were known for telling fortunes and healing the ill. One of the cunning women's daughter, Alison Device, one day came across a peddler named John Law. Alison asked him for metal pins. This could be for wealth gain or simply for her family. John Law denied the request, and it's rumoured that Alison whispered a curse under her breath. John Law then collapsed, believing that Alison had put a curse on him. Alison went on to visit the Law family and begged forgiveness, which at the time was seen as an open confession. Alison eventually confessed to selling her soul to the devil. Now remember, this was different times, and it's highly likely that the confession was tortured out of her. This did not only seal her own fate, but that of almost her whole family and the neighbouring family. The reason behind the neighbouring family also being convicted is due to a meeting that happened at Malkin Tower a week after John Law was struck down. One family to another, they had met up to feast and discuss the recent misfortune that had happened to the family. The court, however, heard of this and instead decided that it sounded more like a coven, and all partakers were to be accused of witchcraft. All were tried in 1612, and this is where we hear the prime witness, 9-year-old Janet Device, who was the daughter of Alison. Janet told the court her mother had been a witch for multiple years, and both she and her brother had used familiars to help in their misdeeds. As Janet was also present at the Malkin Tower meeting, she also confirmed the attendance of the neighbouring family, who in hearing this broke down and admitted guilt, knowing that their fate had already been sealed. All of the accused were ultimately hung for their accusations, and this has led to hundreds of years worth of haunting stories around the lands of Pendle. Malkin Tower, where the elder Old Demdike used to live, is supposed to be around the Pendle quarry, and this is an area that Old Demdike confessed to meeting the devil in the form of a small boy. Placing Janet Device as the key witness of the Pendle witch trials set a powerful precedent amongst future trials. Where previously children were not trusted to give evidence, they could now be called upon in the court of law and taken as a serious witness.